Hey guys, what's up? Greg with Semi Crazy here. I've done a review of my 5700 and I really love the truck. And with all the miles I've been putting on, I thought of going back and doing a little bit more on the truck, but then I thought, you know what? I haven't touched it all on what is kind of the unsung hero of my operation, which is my trailer. I'm pulling a 53-foot Lode King step deck with ramps, and it is just about a perfect trailer for the operation that I have at hand. So up front here on what we call the kick, that's the step, the neck, whatever you may call it. It's the top part of your step deck up above the lower part. This is 11 feet long, and it has, as you can see, 5 winches. They alternate side to side, so you can get a good side pull on something. It also has tie down points in the corners on the neck here for chains. There's 4 points for tying down a piece of equipment with chains there. I mean, alternately, you can also go around the pocket, but it's nice that it has those recessed in there. So when we move down the trailer, it's a 20-inch drop on this from the top of the neck down to the bottom, and that actually can be bridged with these ramps. So this one has the optional ramps here. They're just about 8 feet long, and those ramps are good for is getting equipment actually up onto the top piece. Now I've loaded over top of them. I've left them up in the position, the slope position while I drove. I find that affects the ride of the trailer a little bit, but it can be done. So the bottom deck here is, as you can see, a good length. It's actually 36.5 feet long, and it has tie down points every 2 feet, and those winches alternate as well. Of course, it's every 2 feet till back where the wheels are. Anyone who's pulled step decks for any period of time knows that there's never a winch that goes over top of the wheel wells, just because you need that space for the wheel to travel in there. But in between both sets of wheels, or all 3 sets of wheels, I have a set of winches that are offsetting, and then 2 sets that are on the back over the ramps. So the ramps take up 5.5 feet, and so that 5.5 feet I can load over. I've loaded on top of the ramps before. There's several different ways to go about it. If I could change something about the trailer, it would probably be the way the tops of the ramps are. I'd like to have a flat loading surface here and maybe a full width ramp. The problem being with that, it would add some weight to the truck or to the trailer, and not sure if we want to give that up. So I have seen other setups where they have the full width and a flat surface over top, and a lot of days though it would be really a nice feature to have. So the back also has the chain tie downs, and they're spaced out, I believe, every 5 feet. I have them in use here with what I'm hauling right now. They're nice to have. It's nice to not have to go out and around the rail, and also you can hook your boomer directly to it. For those of you who don't know that terminology, your boomer is also, could be called your cinch or your I don't know, I guess everybody has a different word for them, but it's a tie down. It's what you use on a chain. We've just always called them boomers. So yeah, you can hook that directly to it, which sometimes allows you to use one chain instead of two, as long as you can keep the loose piece in between. So one of the other pieces about this trailer that I really like, I like the way the wide loads lights are integrated. Of course, I got this one pinned in right now, but as you can see under here, they pin in and they telescope out right out to 12'6", and it's nice to have. You can always throw your flags on the end of them, and then oftentimes you don't have to throw on a set of magnetic lights, which get expensive if for some reason they don't stick on. So as you can see here, the stake pockets and hooks and everything are actually weight rated to hook onto, which is nice. Not every trailer has that. Another nice feature on this is, well, if it was clean, here's my air gauge. Normally I can see through that, but you can look in here and you can check what your weights are. It's also got, I also have an air dump here and strobe lights for wide load that are fixed right there. I like that the flap, it's got flaps in front of the landing gear. It just knocks the stones down. I mean, I do spend a portion of time on gravel and I mean, keeps the paint on the front there. This trailer is a 2018 and I mean, really the paint's in quite good shape. Flat decks I tend to get beat up. All in all, this one's in pretty good shape. Everything's holding up quite well. The decking's solid. I mean, there's no issues with any of that. I have seen some other manufacturers with a cheaper wood and maybe a little less thickness in their hardwood. There's also, I mean, you have the option of running an aluminum deck. I prefer the wood just because you can actually nail to it. I know you can get nailer strips on an aluminum deck, I realize that, but they're not always where you need them. So I don't know, it just gives you more of an option. I know it's the aluminum's lighter, but for what we do up here, this just holds up better. This truck is running on Henderson in-track suspension, which is it's a good suspension. Haven't had any issues with it ever on anything that ever ran. I like the central tire inflation on this. It hasn't let me down at all yet. The pressures stay even. I like the caps on these Hendrickson hubs as well. Yeah, nice and easy to see. This truck's got aluminum wheels outside, steel inside. I shouldn't say the truck, the trailer. It does everything I ask of it. There's a ton of different loads you can put on a step deck. I guess that's one of the things I like about it. I guess all step decks you can put a ton of different loads on, but what makes a ramp step deck better is that you can ground load it, and you don't have to put out any sort of setup. You just flip the ramps down and away you go. So tomorrow when I go to start pulling off some of this gear, it's pretty easy for me. I just take the chains off there and I flip those ramps down, drop my air, and it comes off. It's really simple. You may say, well, it's not always that simple, Greg. You weren't able to get the grader on over your ramps. True. But had I done a little bit more work and maybe thrown a couple of pieces of wood down, it wouldn't have been a problem. So. Brings me to one last thing. This trailer's 9 wide versus 8.6, and that makes a huge difference when loading larger equipment. I know 6 inches doesn't sound like much, but it really can be when you're driving up and over, either over these ramps or over another ramp, and that 6 inches of extra tire on the deck just makes a huge difference. So I don't really have any pet peeves with the trailer other than, as I said, I would like the ramps to be full width and be able to load over top of them. One other thing I would have, and I will be getting, is a dunnage rack. So right now I don't have one, and it would be nice if I could just put one, say, down just in behind. I'm thinking that's where it'll go, is right behind my load boxes, or jockey boxes if you like to call them. I mean, there's several different names for them, but I store all my straps, some other blocking and different things in these boxes. I'd like to have a rack in the back for dunnage, which is wood or metal, or things that you put underneath loading. It would just be great to be able to carry that stuff on here. I ended up having to leave some of it back because what I end up doing a lot of the time is moving it. I'll stack it in one spot and then I have to move it around, and then I move it to a different place, and it seems like I spend half my day just moving dunnage around. So it would be nice to have it stowed away underneath in that area. I'm probably gonna put one on both sides, actually. I may have just made that decision right now, but having one on each side and big enough that I can stow my risers in there. Now, I probably should explain my risers. The risers actually are aluminum pieces I have that fit into stake pockets, and so when you put them in the stake pockets, and they ride here, and they bring the height up to even with the front deck, and so that way you kind of turn your step deck into a flatbed. And by turning that step deck into a flatbed, then I can haul 60-foot pipe, buildings. There's a myriad of other things I can haul. Or I mean, if you want to extend the front past 11 feet, you want to bring it back to 20 feet at the same height, you could just put a riser in there. They're really, really handy. So yeah, just another thing of the versatility of a step, right? The other probably biggest feature, a lot of the reason most people get a step, is so that they can haul higher or taller freight. This one, 41-inch deck height's a little on the tall side for a step, but being that this one's more aimed at equipment hauling, it's passable, right? You can get this trailer in an ultra low, so it would run on 17.5 or 19.5 wheels on the back end with low pro rubber, and I think that height would be 34 inches, might even be a little bit lower, don't quote me on that. But so you would have a larger drop at the front, but you would also you'd gain another 6 inches of overall load height if that's important. So yeah, anyways, I could recommend the trailer wholeheartedly. It's done a good job for me, and as I said, it's one of the unsung heroes in this operation. So take care, and we'll see you down the road.